going on, YouTube? I am back, and a lot of time has passed since the other video, actually. Drink some water there. My girlfriend called me when I first tried to record this video, and that basically devolved into me doing nothing. And so, here I am. I'm going to show you this 3-rare deck. So I would like to, I guess, first off, go over the deck. Basically, the whole idea of this deck was how good are these two cards. And these two cards that I'm talking about are Bloodline Pretender and Doomscar. So I took a concept of the 3-rare challenge, and I just wanted to prove how good a singular rare was. But then in that, I wanted to see how good another card could be. Like, I use Doomscar and Bloodline Pretender in like every single deck that I make for myself to play, and so I just wanted to see why. And the reason is, these cards are so fluid. They're so just good magic right here. I mean, this is, I put this card away for later with 2 mana, and then for 3 mana, I clear the board and I say, let's just try and redo this a little more peacefully. Or I clear the board and I say, okay, time for me to kill you. either one of those. This is just good magic. And then the same thing goes for Bloodline Pretender. Everybody loves tribal decks. Even if you hate tribal decks, you still probably play like a spell slinger deck, or like a counter deck, or something like that, some kind of mechanic that's just part of like a tribe. Like in Ikoria, they proved that a tribe of menace is a creature and human hybrid of these like people who befriend animals and give counters to things with menace. I mean, rant over. Let's go over the deck. We have 4 Light of Hope, we have 2 Shelter, 4 Vandal, 4 Binding of the Titans. You know how I feel about this card. This is also kind of talking about why this card is so good as well. Conclave Mentor holds this deck together, and this is where I come into Centaurs. This is a Centaur tribal deck. There's only one card in this deck that is not Centaurs if it is a creature, because technically we do have Shapeshifter in Kaldheim right now. But I made Selesnya Centaurs because, well, Centaurs are in every single standard basically, and there's normally only 1, sometimes maybe 2 Centaurs that are actually good. I think when this one first came out, there were 2 Centaurs. There was a Centaur that would put your graveyard back into your library, or put all cards except for 2 or something like that back into your library or something like that. And then there was Conclave Mentor, and those are 2 fairly good Centaurs in standard at one time. But there's never really, it's not like dragons where every couple standards there'll be 2 dragons that are really good. Like right now I think we have maybe 3, maybe only 2. But and it's not like humans where there's always good humans. And Centaurs always seems to get a little bit of a bad end of the stick. Maybe we need to go back to Theros and have a Centaur themed thing. But speaking of Theros, we are playing Nyxborn Cursor, whichever one. We're playing 3 Recovery, we're playing 2 Broken Wings, 3 Uprising, 4 Wildwood Patrol. This card you see in a lot of just green decks. It is a good 3 mana card, a 3 mana 4/2 with trample. Fantastic rate. What are they going to block with? A 1/1? What are like most things they're going to block with are going to die when you're playing this attacking on turn 4. If they're not, good thing you have Bloodline Pretender, because you're just going to keep tossing out Centaurs to make this guy big enough. And that's where the Uprising comes in, is Bloodline Pretender is basically how we're going to get a bunch of damage in. And then of course the Bloodline Pretender, Doomscar, and the Maya Vedagard Protector. This is our only non-Centaur in the deck, and it is solely for tempo. Quite honestly, every time we play a land, getting a creature saves us, gives us time to find a Binding of the Titans, gives us time to get a recovery off, gives us time to Doomscar, because sometimes we won't have the white for it. We'll have plenty of green. Sometimes we'll have too much white and we won't even be able to recovery, so having her is a great thing in the deck. Maybe our next Centaur could be a rare Centaur that says other Centaurs you control get +1/+2, and whenever a Centaur leaves the battlefield, put target Centaur with equal or lesser converted mana cost onto the battlefield tapped. That would be a great Selesnya Centaur. Obviously, they would want to involve enchantments more into it, but I think that that would be a fantastic Centaur for looking through all the Centaurs that have been in the game previously. And then the normal land base that you see around me, and then Stronghold. One thing that I would recommend is if you are going to play this deck, go ahead and put some Fable Passages in to give yourself some more humans, some more tokens to block with, definitely. And you could play Evolving Wilds at a budget rate, but you really want that land to come in and be able to use it. We are playing Centaur Tribal. I have to move the mic. I'm sorry if this is loud. We're playing Centaur Tribal and Platinum Standard. Let's get after it, dude. I'm playing a Druidette? I don't know how to say that. Oh, a Typhoid Rat's nice. We do get paired up against a lot of creature decks. We playing Bloodline Pretender. Of course, Arena's gonna know we're playing a creature deck. One of your best plays off of this deck is a Bloodline Pretender into a Conclave of Mentor, which is why I kept this hand, because I can normally get this down fairly simply. Now, the only problem I'm going to have against Mono Black is getting things back from the graveyard in Selesnya is not necessarily too slow. It is just slow enough that this might take a little while, so I would really like to see my human right now. I already forgot her name. Baya! Or something like that. She would be fantastic right now. We don't have too much life gain, but we do have the ability to gain 4 life through Light of Hopes, which is, at the end of the day, that's 16 life you can gain, because 4 times 4 is 16, so gaining 16 life isn't all that bad. It's also our only enchantment destruction, and it is a nice way to set up for other things. So, like right now, we are waiting for another Plains, so I'm just going to foretell that, and then gain 4 life at the end of their turn, and hope that I draw Plains and can Doomscar. We play enough lands, it's not impossible, right? And you'll find that most people get pretty greedy. Playing Selesnya, a lot of people are used to the enchantment deck from Theros, which is still almost entirely legal from its first inception. And playing against Selesnya is pretty slow for the most part. You never really are hurting to deal damage. Like right now, they're still going to get a bunch of damage in on me, and this is all I can do. I'm going to have to put a Bloodline Pretender down, hoping to block one of their Death Touch creatures, which I don't want to do. And they'll probably murder it in general, but as long as we're getting spells out of their hand, I don't mind it too much. Nightmare Shepherd hurts our strategy here of Doomscarring fairly well, but it is not the end-all be-all. We can still Doomscar, and get away with it because the Nightmare Shepherd goes away as well. Though we might not be gaining enough life here. And remember, this is just a 3 rare deck. If you have seen any of my other 3 rare decks, ooh, and that's game. It came in tapped. If you've seen any of my other 3 rare decks, I normally try to make it as budget as possible. Uncommons, we might be a little too spendy on, but for the most part we try to keep it very budget. There's a lot of commons, there's a lot of low strategies for people who are trying to get into the game, can actually play the game. And that's all we want here. And I have done fairly well with this deck. I mean, as you see, I'm at Platinum 4, so I haven't been successfully winning too much in Platinum lately, but that's mostly because I try a bunch of different decks. It has nothing to do with a singular deck that I build. I throw decks at the wall. I don't care about my standard rank, and I don't mind packs. I play enough that I'll get them. What I really care about is how many of these cards can I play with, and how many of them are good in the strategies that I want to use? That's all I really care about, and so that's what I do. Now I am definitely gonna patrol into an uprising because I'm kind of just waiting for something to remove that enchantment and a Doomscar. And hopefully you will get to see in this video the combo. I mean, I'll probably just keep recording until the combo goes off, but Centaurs is not bad. Bloodline Pretender with the gosh, this is the problem with playing so many decks, is I always forget the names of stuff. But Bloodline Pretender with the Centaur that gains you counters, her Mentor, is just so good. It really is just such a good combo. And so we drew our card off of that, so we don't mind taking away probably their lifelinker. We don't need them to be gaining life. This deck is very slow, so if you are going to build this deck because you like the idea of Centaurs or anything like that, you know, more power to you. I will just say this deck is very slow for the current standard that I am presenting it in, so just make sure that you're aware of that before you build said deck. We are not going to attack. We are waiting for you to start gaining life, or to start gaining life, make a bunch of griffins so I can Doomscar you, and then show everyone how I can come back. That's what a lot of this deck is. A lot of this deck is playing to Doomscar's strength. They get ahead of us, they enchant our creatures, they make a bunch of griffins, they blah 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 blah. We don't really mind because we have Doomscar on the way. Our ultimate enemy is Mill because we are playing budget, and that's just how that ends up sometimes. Awesome. I'm waiting for a Bloodline Pretender here. I don't want to play that card because I just don't want to. With my Binding of the Titans, I can get back a Mentor and I can get back a Pretender all in the same turn right now. I'm just looking to Doomscar and then maybe a Binding of the Titans and then a Binding of the Titans on the next turn. There we go. That's what we're really looking for right there, is for them to play the Dusk Rose. They have overextended themselves, and this is in the other video where I was saying a Doomscar would be really great here. Not in the other video, in the other game. And basically, we're just going to alert them that something is up by blocking here. So they're going to be like, okay, well, obviously they did something. They did that for some reason. Right on. So we just Doomscar. And then we want to Binding of the Titans. Control what they're going to draw. We didn't really get anything that we wanted, but we also hit another one of their Griffin enchantments, so. Right on, Silvermoor Ghoul is very good here. So is she. Awesome. Way to hold back, dude. So we're going to exile some cards and gain some life. Binding of the Titans really comes in handy in a lot of budget decks. I can't tell you, man. Does this help with... It's only +1/+1 counters. That's cool. We will play her, hope for a land next turn. The two Garrick's Uprising were not exactly what we wanted to see then. What we really would have loved is another Doomscar, because they're going to be able to start getting life here. And playing 4 copies of Doomscar is always nice. Good. A Light of Hope is really good there. Hopefully they lose it. Awesome. Only gained 1 life. Sweet. And we got the plane, so we get the token. Then we play the Binding of the Titans. Hope they don't have another Light of Hope. And we'll play the Mentor now. And get in for 2. And just see what happens. I mean, we're playing Selesnya versus Orzhov. We're both basically doing these 2 things that we're supposed to do. Which is now I'm gonna have a bunch of little creatures that are actually big, and he's gonna have a bunch of stuff that is, you know, life gaining and death touchy. I guess Death Touch is a lot more Golgari, but I stand by what I said. I'll take the... so I can draw 2 cards. Yes, that is how that works. Can I play land this turn? Beautiful. Beautiful. Get in. We're turning the tide on life gain with Centaurs. Wow. Way to be. Way to be. All you had to do was win 1 flip. That's awesome. We have not drawn a single Bloodline Pretender. Right on. I mean, what I am going to do is activate this ability. And so, gain a little dude. Not so little now, is he? Use this ability. Put 1 on her, so she can't die. Put 1 on her, so she can't die to a Light of Hope from him blocking. And then playing that card would have been a lot better there, but I didn't really want to. I want to keep that for my Bloodline Pretender. I want to play Bloodline Pretender and then both of these in the same turn to give my Bloodline Pretender an unbelievable amount of power. Because a lot of the ways we win with Centaurs is making them concede. Like right now, if he draws the right card, he could be like, alright, I can gain 6 life. If I win a flip, I can win. But if I play a Bloodline Pretender and 2 Mentors right after it, he's conceding. You can see just how the core of Selesnya is so good. And I mean, think about putting Mentor in the Mutate deck that I made. You can just... Selesnya is so good right now for budget. If you are just getting into Magic Arena and you don't understand a deck that you want to play, if you don't really know what you're looking for, you can go to Google and search for get free packs from Magic Arena. And there's a bunch of different websites, which is why I don't have one linked. But they'll give you all the free codes that you could have gotten. And you'll get enough rares to make a good deck. My friend Bruce and I, we made so many good decks in such a little amount of time. And well, I only made him 1 deck, but he got so many good cards just by opening those packs in such a little amount of time that it was just really nice to to experience. And I will play the Mentor and I will play the Courser. It sucks, but, you know, getting board wiped and then him being able to play the Giant this turn is a little much. A Doomscar is necessary here. But if you are new, you know, my 3 rare videos, they're all very not anti-meta or rogue in any way. They are very, this is what you can do with Magic the Gathering. And it's nice. They make for solid decks, most definitely. I'm just gonna wait for a Bloodline Pretender or a Doomscar. That thing doesn't have trample, so nice. But what you don't know is I have a Light of Hope in hand. Blap. Swing in, do it. Another Light of Hope. That hurts, but we're just kind of sitting here waiting for a Doomscar, basically. Because they're going to be able to start gaining a lot of life here. This could be game, though. Let's see, I can do a total of... So that would be... It increases it by 1. So I'd be putting 2 extra counters on them. Ooh, that's good, though. Bloodline Pretender. Name Centaurs. He probably does have Artifact Destruction. Boop. That's 4 counters. That's a giant blocker right there. If I've ever seen one. No attacks. I'll probably Light of Hope it or something, I mean. Nice, okay. Bitchin'. Draw 2 cards. Get a giant Bloodline Pretender. Destroy his thing with flying that has lifelink. Absolute domination. Selesnya Centaurs for the win. You have so much control. You have so much control over what happens to your cards in this deck. Like, Selesnya Centaurs. You can win a game in Platinum. It's not even that hard to do. Winning a game of Platinum is fairly easy. I found when I went up to Diamond, Diamond 3 was about as far as I could get with the decks that I craft just for these videos. Oh, yeah! Another Sigurd! Yes! The Human Warrior deck is truly coming around. If you know anything, when I first got Chaldeum, I decided that I was going to have to naturally generate the Human Warrior deck, or just the Warrior deck in general, because I spent all of my shit on elves. Anyway, let me get back to the deck here. I named it Centaurs because it's so fun. You just feel like you're riding on a plains with this magical horse that has long hair, and it's just, oh, it's great. It's truly fantastic, and I love this deck so much. You saw there's so many combinations here that just make the deck work enough. This card works so great with lands, and the fact that it gives most things with Mentor in the deck escape from shock. What is that other card? Dismissal or whatever, the one that does 4 damage. There's so many times you won't die to Storm's Wrath just because of Light of Hope's Mentors, and just, oh, this deck is so clean when it's really going, when it's really down on the ground. As you saw, I had complete control over what was happening with my cards. Maybe not the game, but what I could do. When you're in top deck mode in this deck, it feels so good. You know something is coming to help you and save you, and sometimes, yeah, you'll whiff on a Courser, but then the next thing you know, you have a Bloodline Pretender. You put a Bloodline Pretender down, a Courser down, and the next thing you know, you're looking at a Light of Hope, and you draw a Mentor. You're putting the Mentor down, you're putting the Light of Hope on the Bloodline Pretender, you're swinging with a 15-15. I mean, the deck just goes crazy and gets out of hand so swiftly. As you saw, if he had stayed alive a little longer, my Bloodline Pretender was just going to get bigger. I play so many cards that count as Centaurs or just are Centaurs, and it truly is fantastic. Now go ahead, and if you stayed until the end of this video, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this 3 rare series. But if you didn't know, the 3 rares I use in this deck are Doomscar. You can build Centaurs completely budget in Magic the Gathering Arena right now.